So the law of one celestial cycle is really telling us that if we are able to fulfill love's frequency in one cycle, that's all we have to do here. Because that is the purpose of why we're here, is to complete the cycle. Most of us miss it because we don't comprehend the fullness of love. So we have to go through many cycles. But one cycle is telling us that through the revelation of expansion and contraction, it's already established the law of expanse and contraction in one cycle. Therefore, it translates to, if you can see it for what it truly is, because every breath in is really you're breathing in the contraction of revelation and through inhalation. But in macro, micro, cosmic, celestial, quantum law, it's really expanding and contracting within us, right? Because revelation is us rendering down what it's really saying in its expanse, because it's doing the same thing. It's expanding, showing us expanse through contraction in its moment. So we're rendering down the revelation, breathing it in through inhalation, so it would produce that exact same measure within us, expand us through the contraction in breath. And then through exhalation, we would bring really the measure of condensing through our expansion of revelation outwardly. So it's doing exactly the same thing that's done to us as we would release to another. This is where we get the word that transforms into voice. We render down the word, contract it, ingest it, allow it to expand within us, unwinding the spiral staircase. We then become the measure of that frequency, speaking it outwardly as it's narrowly released, and it expands itself by law of expansion and contraction. So it's being released as the law of cycle. We have become part of a completed cycle, and now we're releasing the expansion of that law outwardly as law, because we become that frequency.
So, as within, so without.
As within, so without. It's macro, micro. It's doing it's doing both components in the same micro millisecond, expansion and contraction within, because that, again, it's representing a Merkaba construct, but on micro, macro. It's waiting for the completion of its full cycle, but it still is representation. It's like taking a holograph and severing it. It still says the same thing.
Just a smaller version.
Just a smaller version. And so if you ingest it, it's still going in to produce the macro micro of atomic explosion within that then's unwinding us. And so as we release, would it be any different? No law is law.
So as it is revealed to us, we reveal it to others. That's why it's called learn, teach, learn.
Learn. So as we are becoming, we're releasing that exact resonance of the frequency of the law of contraction and expansion. It's really just the law of light expressed through lenses that is just through spirit comprehension and then extracted to show this is the law of light and how it works.
Hence why love and light work together, because light can't activate the Merkaba without love.
Well, it's actually love and light are the same thing.
Right.
Yes. But yes, and so we are given opportunity for acclimation. The contraction allows us to acclimate for expanse.
Sure, that makes sense.
Because instantaneous, it is instantaneous, but still there has to be, there's the grace component that allows us to express what we just went through. That's the revelation moment of our aha. It's like, oh, right? We just witnessed acclimation of expanse. You do that enough times.
Open, close, open, close, open, close.
Right, and your vessel can no longer contain that level of expanse, and it has to transmute into a vessel of greater expanse.
Right, hence the activation of the Merkaba. So those that don't have the ability, the loveless ones, will not be able to activate their Merkaba.
No, because they're
because
missing.
Love and light are synonymous.
Because the cycle of law, the one cycle, is the same measure in law of light.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So how could you activate rhetorical? How could you activate the law of light if you're not implementing
the law
of love?
Yeah, right? If you don't activate the law of love.
Right.
Because they're the same.
They're the same. Nothing, as all these, this is the greatest. All are frequencies. All these are, but the greatest is love.
The greatest is love. That's good. Thank you.